Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, there we go. We are live. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Superlative Podcast. I'm Edward Bushi. One guest, no edits, no post production, just a sharp live conversation about what it really takes to reach higher levels and what comes next. So let's get into it. I want to say a big welcome to Jonah Probell from Lexi VC. His fund is based on genetics, and after 25 years building startups, filing patents, and taking companies public, he's now betting everything about on learning to rewrite it. Before we get into your story, Jonah, I would love to know what you're doing at Lexi Ventures, and also welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thank you. Glad to be here. Yeah. As you said, Lexi Ventures is investing in genetic engineering technologies. We believe it's humanity's most powerful technology
Mm-hmm.
and has the ability to create just more company value in the next decade than most other inventions. So yeah, that's where we're investing. Seed and pre-seed stage, very early stage startups. Uh,
There's a cat.
Sorry, a giant
No,
tiger just walked across
yeah,
my camera. um,
that's
yeah,
that's
but
pretty
anyway,
wild.
yeah. So another biological creature in the room.
Yeah, no,
But
that,
yeah,
that's
so
that's really fun.
so yeah, Lexi Ventures is a seed, pre-seed stage venture capital fund, looking at anything related to DNA, RNA, protein cells, including a lot of human health, but including other things, potentially crops,
Mm-hmm.
industrial microbes, consumer biotics. Yeah, just excited about it.
Yeah, looking forward to chat more. But like, I would love to get into like a backstory, right? Like, you're in the industry for like 25 years, right? But like, how did you get your start into it, and like, how did that lead into where you are now with neuroscience? Or sorry, yeah, with what you're doing.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm an investor now in biological sciences. This wasn't the
Biological
beginning of my
sciences, yes.
career. Yeah, I began like my first experience in biotech was in high school. I actually did a science project with bacteria and a spectral radiometer, and was a runner up in one of the national science competitions, the Westinghouse Science Talent Search at the time. But the lesson I took away from it more was that processing things with computers is very valuable. There's a certain elegance to doing things digitally. When things are digital, you can make perfect copies of information. You can have deterministic processes, and really that's what underlies video games, computer programming, and I spent most of my career designing computer chips along the way. But around 2013, so, and by the way, DNA is literally digital information. It's a digital storage medium. Nature evolved to make every living creature out of a digital code. So it was in 2013 that we harnessed CRISPR, we being scientists, and we're able to make precise edits. And in around 2020, AlphaFold 2 came out and showed that it was now possible to accurately and quickly model the function and the form of proteins, which are what make up all of living organisms. And it became pretty clear to me at that point that that we were at a breakthrough in technology, that was going to unlock a wave of new startups coming along. And at that point, I pretty much said I'm going to quit my job and start investing my savings in genetic engineering, because it is the next big thing.
Yeah, that's really crazy. So like, could you just like help us understand like what is CRISPR? Because then um, I to me, it's just like this nebulous idea where you can edit things. What does it mean to edit a DNA?
Yeah, well, CRISPR is really just a bunch of chemicals, but or you can call them reagents, that when you mix them with a cell, they go in and change the sequence. CRISPR itself breaks the DNA in a cell at a very specific place that you can program by creating a sequence of RNA. And the original CRISPR has actually been superseded by some other better editing technologies that don't cause breaks and are therefore more effective and safer to use. So we've made progress since the original CRISPR discovery.
Okay, that's huge. Like the idea that you could like make or put new things inside DNA. So it's more like writing on DNA. That's what it unlocks if you're going to the digital analog.
Right. Yeah. And the opposite would be, or the complement would be sequencing. So gene sequencing is reading. In, I think it was year 2000, we sequenced the first human genome, and it cost billions of dollars to do. It was a big government program. And since then, the cost of sequencing has fallen faster than Moore's law. It's, at this point, you can do it for even under $100. You can sequence a person's full set of genes, their full genome. And that just the falling cost of sequencing, along with the ability to make precise bit by bit edits, just like editing a computer file with CRISPR, and now the ability to model and simulate what will happen when you make those edits. It just that is the unlock that has enabled this this new wave.
Could you talk more about that unlock? Because now you painted a picture where we're at a point now where we can gene edit sequences in DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means we can do something now. Like, do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah. So to harp on the computer analogy a bit more, in the 70s and 80s, we started to be able to do on a computer at home in a garage at an affordable price for regular people, things that otherwise previously you needed a giant lab or a big corporation or university. When the cost came down, it enabled people to use their creativity to program things. And that's when we got companies like Microsoft and Apple and Oracle that came along, and just, the software revolution came and changed the world. And we're basically at that point now. You can buy a CRISPR kit on Amazon. You can now order up DNA sequences and design things and be creative and make new products at home for low cost. And that's just, I expect, enabling, and not just expect, I'm seeing a wave of new startups. There are just hundreds and thousands of companies out there with scientists and engineers and hobbyists and experimenters doing new things that never could have been done with biology.
So, like, to me, I know that you can like edit genes inside plants or like animals or cells in general, right? I could see a pharma angle to it, but like you're talking about startups in general. So like, what help me close the gap here? Because like, what can you do now that you can like gene edit certain things?
Right. Yeah. Probably the largest market. So the largest markets are within human health, because people, if someone is, they say a healthy person wants many things, a sick person wants just one. When you are sick, yeah, when you're sick, you're willing to spend a lot of money, or your health insurance company is willing to spend a lot of money to get you better. And so it's a very large amount of people and the national spending in America, at least. So the largest markets are in human health, and within that, cancer, heart disease, neurodegenerative disease, those are and diabetes. Those are kind of the biggest expensive health costs. Among those, the GLP-1 revolution that we're having right now is really doing a lot to help diabetes and heart disease. But cancer is the biggest genetic disease, as well as neurodegenerative diseases, which are much more complicated to solve. But I would say the largest number of companies and the ones pursuing the largest markets right now are working on cancer cures. And cancer is a very scary thing to us and to our parents. I predict that in the future, our children and following generations, it will not be a scary thing at all. You'll go for your annual physical. They'll, do a blood sample, detect that you have some cancer, and give you an injection to cure it, and you'll be done.
Yeah. So like what does it mean? Like the fact that we can get into the health science industry, you have this ability to edit genes. Are we talking about like uh, addressing hereditary stuff, or are we talking about like killing viruses, or like what are you seeing?
Yeah, cancer is very complicated.
Mm.
There are other genetic diseases that are a little bit more rare that are caused by one single point mutation, and those will be the first and easiest in a way to basically cure. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about therapies or treatments or medicines, but actual complete cures where you can make an edit, one and done, and for the rest of their life, that person is cured. Um, One of the first that has been approved is a drug called Casgevy, which is useful for sickle cell disease. Sickle cell is a very terrible disease. It affects people of African descent mostly. It's a very big problem in Africa. In America, we now have an FDA-approved treatment for it. It costs about $2 million per dose. So obviously, that's not practical to give to everybody in the world who has this disease. But it is a demonstration that this is possible. And there are many people working on ways of bringing down the cost of gene therapies like that for rare monogenic diseases. And so I'm optimistic a lot of cures are going to come along and be practical and be a lot more affordable within our healthcare system.
Yeah. So, just getting a little bit into what you do at Lexi, right? Because uh, Lexi more means like alphabet, right? Like, love to get into like how you came up with the name, and also would love to like see the or hear about the kind of things that you're backing at the firm.
Sure. Yeah. The name Lexi in Greek, Lexi means words or language. And the thing that separates humans from all other species in the world is our ability to innovate. And we develop that ability when we develop language, uh, and especially the ability to pass on complex concepts that can be passed from person to person and be built upon and handed down through generations. That's what enabled innovation. It enabled trade, division of labor, and eventually the scientific revolution and the industrial revolution, which has brought us to, computers and the internet and AI, and here we are.
Yep.
So yeah, language is the source of innovation, and you can say that DNA actually is also another form of language. So yeah, that's where the name comes from. We're investing in a wide range of companies, some working on cancer, some working on rare genetic diseases, like I described. We've invested in one company that makes a consumer biotic product. It's basically in the world of cosmetics, a skincare product, and a company working on biomining, for example. Yeah.
What is biomining? Because I get the other parts, but like I would love to hear what that is.
Yeah, so one of Lexi Ventures' portfolio companies is Alkali Labs, and
Mm.
they've engineered a microbe that's able to capture lithium and do that from the salty water brines that come out of oil fracking wells. And so this creates a U.S. domestically sourced supply of lithium, free of tariffs, and key to enabling our domestic electric vehicle production infrastructure. They've also been able to extend this microbial metal capturing technology to also capture rare earths,
Mm.
and have received a bunch of government support and grants to enable the development of their biotechnology for mining rare earth elements, which are, of course, of strategic national interest.
That sounds like we're using. How do you even say it? We're using germs, like a new robot.
Yeah. So So mining and many industrial processes require either heating things up to very high temperatures or performing difficult mechanical operations on the grinding and beating on things.
Yeah.
Um,
Stuffing it with
bio,
water.
yeah, and it consumes resources, creates poisonous chemicals, requires a lot of energy. Biological things naturally are able to do things at closer to room temperature, so you don't need so much energy input. They're able to do it in liquids that don't require such mechanical processing, and they're able to do it in a much cleaner, safer way for the people interacting directly with them and for the planet overall. So, Lexi Ventures is investing for profit, but I'm really happy about the fact that the things we're investing in are also things to improve health, human health, and planetary health overall.
Yeah.
Alkali Labs is one example of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So and yeah, I love the examples that you gave there. So I I wanted to I guess talk about um, certain angles, right? Because like I know we are at the cusp of getting this technology accessible to people, just like AI is accessible to people, and they can start doing things at scale. And now people can buy, let's say, CRISPR um, technology. They can edit things at scale or much more easily than they did in the past. So like how are how's the industry like managing the potential like downsides here? Because there are, when it comes to AI, there's like stories of hacks happening with AI, right? You can train an AI to like really destroy something, but when it comes to gene editing, right? Like uh, there's things where there's unintended consequences where a microbe might open up something that you never anticipated.
Yeah. So every new technology can be used for good and for bad purposes.
Mm,
Um, if you wanted to do the most harm to humanity, an
yeah.
engineered virus would be much worse than almost anything else. But if you want to cure every disease, this
Mm,
is our best shot at doing it. Um, it's difficult to engineer something it's difficult to make microbes or cells, animals, plants do the things you want them to do. It's
yeah.
a challenging problem. It's unlikely to accidentally create something that does something very harmful effectively. Like in other words, it's hard to make let's just stick with microbes for now. It's hard to make a microbe that effectively does what you want. It's
Mm,
not likely to accidentally make it effectively do anything else.
okay.
So people will debate any technology, and so there's always a counter argument, but uh, it's not likely that we are going to destroy the world with trying to engineer a cure for cancer or a microbe to do mining,
Yeah.
to extract metals or or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like there are like chronic problems that we could be like solving right now that really deserve to be solved. And here's a technology that can offer that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the issue of governance and how do you keep a rogue bad actor from using a new technology to do something terrible. Um, that's a problem I don't have the solution for, but the existence of the ability to use a new technology for a negative purpose is not a reason to not use it and employ
Mm.
it for the valuable purposes that it can bring to humanity.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. So, like you mentioned mining, but you also mentioned like dermatological products and a lot of stuff about healthcare advancement. Are there breakthroughs in particular in healthcare that specifically that people are sleeping on
Yeah,
that you
another
want to
one
talk about?
that so I'll let me talk about another company that is especially heartwarming. So
Go
Melio
ahead.
Labs is another company that Lexi Ventures has invested in. Melio Labs has a diagnostic device for diagnosing sepsis.
Mm.
Sepsis is bacterial infections, and these happen a lot in hospitals, and even happen in cases coming into hospitals. Melio has a clever approach to creating fingerprints that are unique to each possible microbe and in particular bacterial infections.
Fingerprint. Okay.
Yeah, so it's this is a much easier and faster way than sequencing the DNA of microbes, which would be the conventional approach. So they're able to more quickly and very accurately detect these kinds of pathogens. But more importantly, the fingerprints that they create for each type of bacteria can be uploaded over the internet to every device in the world that they make. So as new pathogens emerge and are discovered and profiled, we can instantly, throughout the entire world, start being able to detect them. This is useful in Melio's product is made to be very affordable and useful in parts of the world where hospitals have a greater need, in particular in neonatal wards, but
Mm.
also sold at higher prices and widely available where there's a regulatory demand for hospital acquired infection detection in America and other major developed countries.
That is huge because you're telling me that right now the problem is when it comes to bacteria or infections in general, you don't know what you're infected with, and you're saying the problem is it's hard. It takes a while for it to be detected.
Yeah, I mean, a major problem we have is antibiotic resistant bacteria. And you don't want to just prescribe the strongest known antibiotic for every infection.
Yeah.
In fact, the doctors are able to prescribe particular antibiotics that are more effective for different types of infections. But when someone comes in sick to the hospital, you have no idea what they're infected with. And so being able to detect that, but this only works if you're able to detect it quickly. And
Mm.
so Melio's approach, which is faster and easier than sequencing the DNA of bacteria, allows them to makes it practical within hospitals within the time of diagnosis of a bacterial infection to figure out which is the appropriate antibiotic. And in the long run, that will save us or slow down the danger from antibiotic resistant bacteria.
Yeah, that's really I didn't really think about it that way. That you could really save the most potent stuff for last and not really destroy your potent stuff in the long term.
Exactly.
That that's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, you wanted to
Yeah.
add?
No. It's just. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's other things that like you that could be potentially unlocked here. I see hospitals being able to probably want to buy these kits. I don't know how this product is formatted. Is it a testing a kit, or is it like
Yeah.
it
It's a
sounds like a
box.
database as well.
It's yeah. It comes as a box that sits on a desk. It's smaller than a bread box. Not that anyone has bread boxes anymore. Smaller than an old-fashioned computer,
Mm.
and it comes with a cartridge. So the patient comes in, you take a blood sample, put it in the cartridge, stick the cartridge in the machine, it reads it, and gives you an output on a browser.
Mm. Okay, yeah, I really I like that story that you shared. So yeah, like at Lexi Ventures, right? It seems what you're doing is you're finding these companies, and basically like helping them. Are you helping them in the go to market, or just helping them in get to the next round? Like, what's the journey look like with working with Lexi?
Yeah, the it varies depending on the company that we're invested in. So
Mm.
some companies we've invested in are building early revenue and looking to get into market and find customers. But a lot of the companies are developing therapeutics or even diagnostics, which are regulated by government agencies. They are not earning revenue and not at a point where they're looking for customers. They need to get to the next round. And the biggest value Lexi brings to a lot of our portfolio companies is that we have a large set of co-investors that we work with that will invest either in the same round, we invest at seed and pre-seed, or follow on in Series A and beyond. And so we like to help our portfolio companies raise their next round. That's our biggest value add
Yeah.
to those companies. Yeah.
I'd love to understand, like, from a healthcare or medtech angle here, because I know when, as a founder myself, you're really, you got to get customers, you got to find out people want this, or you got to get revenue and traction, right? But how do you know if you're talking about a company not getting traction at the moment, right? How do you know it's worth like backing? Where's the conviction come from?
Yeah, a lot of it comes from looking forward at the market need. So it's, yeah, investing in regulated industries in general, and health is an example of that. Um, I mean, even I would say in crypto and DeFi, which in the last presidential administration were highly regulated industries, you need to be looking forward and anticipating what will be possible in the future, and how this might be used, and how many people might be using it and how much they will be willing to pay. Um, that always exists and needs to be done for these regulated industries. We have other companies we've invested in which are basically scale fast types of companies where they are earning revenue and trying to build that revenue ramp. Um, one example is Quicker. We could dive into that, but like you said, it depends on anticipating future markets and
Yeah.
and placing bets.
Would love to have like Quicker be talked about. Like,
Yeah.
you gave that as an example.
Yeah. So, I mean, Quicker is an example of a company that is already in market. They have a product that's used as part of quantifying the accuracy and the quality of CRISPR edits. This is useful to scientists, so they're not selling a product to consumers. This is a B2B or a
Hmm.
B2S, B2 scientist
Yeah.
type of market. But it actually also can be used in the manufacturing process for manufacturing gene therapies. Um,
Yeah. Big
but
big
it's
ones. Yeah.
yeah, it's a tool that's used for quantifying CRISPR edits. They're in the market, they're earning revenue, scaling fast, and they're in that situation where they're roughly break even profitable, and at the point of deciding where there's a term default alive, where they can. This is Y Combinator speak. So if you once you
Oh,
get to break even,
yeah.
even if you never raised another round of funding, or if your
Yeah.
round took forever to raise, you'd be default alive. Uh,
Oh, being in a state where you're okay, it
if you're
sounds like.
if you're even slightly unprofitable, you need to raise that round before you run out of runway. So they're getting to the point of being default alive, being break even, but earning revenue and having a ramp, and they're at the point of deciding when to raise that next round.
Mm.
Do it soon, scale faster, or wait until the revenue grows and the valuation is higher, and get less dilution. So
So
um,
how are they? It seems to me that one of the key things that they would need as a company is just to like get traction in the sense of like not necessarily customers, but like maybe scientists using their auditing gene auditing software.
yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's not much different than any other customer serving any other market. Or sorry, any other startup serving any other market. You got to go out and find the customers. The customers are scientists, the CEO, and the co-founder, who's the chief revenue officer.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact title. They know who their potential customers are. They go out, they
Mm.
talk to them, and then gradually bring them in. Customers do a demo, a trial. They like it. They go and subscribe and start buying more and more of the necessary reagent kits to do that test, or
Yeah.
to use the CRISPR quality control
Yeah.
product.
That's really
Yeah.
really powerful. So one of the things that that also stuck with me in our onboarding call was you're also thinking of doing a podcast as well. Are you? Is there movement on that? Do you want to promote that?
No, no, not at all. Actually, the thought crossed my mind.
Oh,
It
okay.
is not easy. As I looked into it, I realized it's not easy to do a podcast. You know, Edward, my hat's off to you for doing it. Um, and I'm just glad and honored to be a guest on your podcast. The thought crossed my mind, but I'm basically no, not doing my own podcast.
Well, okay, all right. Apologies for presuming, but like, yeah, and thanks for the kind words. But yeah, I hope you get into as many podcast talks as possible because, like, what of all the guests that I have, right, none of them talked about this granular, talking about the most basic items, which is DNA, and so it's really fascinating to really dive into like the possibilities and the unlocks this technology gives.
I think when you're a nerd, it's easy to dive in and get
Yeah,
into the
man.
details of what you like to talk about.
Totally.
Yeah, thanks for the forum. I mean, this is a great podcast, and I love what you've been doing with other guests too. So
Yeah.
I expect Superlative to be a very long lasting and well watched podcast.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. So yeah, like thank you for sparking my curiosity. Just one final thing, like if there are anybody who's working on their technologies that edit and sequence genes and want to talk to you, how can they best reach out?
Yeah, the easiest is probably just go to www.lexi.vc. Click there. You can subscribe to our newsletter. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, if you live or visit, you can join one of our coffee hangouts. We get together every few weeks and just meet up for coffee. It's a great place, especially for biotech founders or genetic engineering, health tech founders to come and meet. And also you can click through the website and contact us by email. I'm always happy to look at a pitch deck and happy to follow up where appropriate.
Jonah, you left some really interesting details. Where is that cafe where people can join your meetup?
It's a different cafe every time. So we
Oh,
circulate.
okay.
Yeah, if you know the Bay Area geography, we go everywhere from San Jose to Berkeley, usually up and down the peninsula, a lot in San Francisco.
Oh,
If you know a great coffee shop, let me know because I like knowing all the coffee shops around.
there you go. If you love nerding about DNA and if you love coffee, Jonah's your guy. Jonah is your guy.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, all right, guys. This has been a great episode with Jonah Probell from Lexi VC. Jonah, thank you for sharing your insight and your candor, and like would love to have you as a guest in the future, talking about more startups. But yeah, thank you for sparking and tickling our curiosity here. It's been fun to listen to you.
Edward, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Superlative Podcast.